It's that time of year again. Cookies, candy, turkey, the holiday parties have been scheduled, the Christmas feast has been planned. It's the most wonderful time of the year. Unless you have an eating disorder. Today we're going to create a holiday survival plan to help get you through the holiday season. When you're prepared, it will reduce the anxiety that fills these moments, so this doesn't have to be a dreaded holiday season. I'm Meredith Mackenzie of Parallel Wellness. On this channel, we explore topics that bring clients to our therapy practice every day. You'll find tips and strategies that you can make your own to enhance your everyday life and manage your mental wellness. So subscribe to our channel and hit the bell to be notified when we post new videos. We publish every Wednesday. So let's start. Get your paper out. You're going to want to write this down. Now I want to start with a cautionary note that you may be at risk as you're preparing for this holiday season on either relying on eating disorder behaviors that have helped you out in the past, which, let's be honest, you want to get away from in recovery, or that you're going to allow yourself to be way in over your head and this is going to be incredibly overwhelming and may not be successful as a result. The goal of this is to let this be a fair challenge of your recovery. Holiday seasons are tough, no doubt about it, but you want to be able to approach them each time and get better and better to learn something new, and this is exactly where you're going to start. So step 1, describe the scenario. Write out the who's, the what's, the where's, and the when's of the entire situation. Who's going to be at this party or event or whatever it is that's happening? Are there going to be any potentially triggering people that are there? What is the scenario? Is this something that's going to be a large group of people? Is it going to be something that's a little more intimate? Where is it going to be located? Are you going to be expected to be in the kitchen helping out? Are you going to be in a big group of people with other people mingling? Is there going to be a buffet? Is there going to be kind of a smorgasbord of treats that are available that are going to be really challenging to your eating disorder? And when is it happening? Is it happening at a mealtime, at a snack time, after dinner? All of these are really key important pieces of information that are going to help you to feel more prepared and to pick out exactly how you're going to help yourself be successful at this event. It's really normal that you might have to write out a number of these different plans, right? One for your Christmas dinner with your family, one for your holiday party with your workmates. Whatever you need to do, write out the plan. Having a plan is going to make it much more likely that you're going to be successful. Step number 2 is to know your meal plan. And this is something that you'll get a better sense of the more you work with your dietitian or your counselor. But knowing what's expected of you, knowing what's a normal meal or snack or after dinner snack, whatever it may be, is going to help you make this plan and know what to expect. One piece of advice I would give was make the meal or the snack or whatever it is work towards something that you're already working on. If you're working on increasing your protein or increasing your carbohydrate intake at a meal, make that a part of it. Some people are even also working on including treats and, fun food in their diet. So this might be a really great opportunity for you to pick something that you would like to try and challenge yourself with eating. Step number 3, know your triggers and write them out. And I want you to be really thoughtful about this one because there's all types of triggers. Sometimes we're not even aware that you're going to be triggered. Think about the type of questions that people might ask that you might find really triggering. Maybe it's questions about school, questions about work, questions about your partner. Think about what these questions might be and how you might want to respond to them. The more prepared you feel with those type of questions, the less triggered you're going to feel in the moment because you're going to have something already ready to say. Now, the other type of triggers that you might come across might be situational triggers, like what do I do if I'm left alone in the kitchen with all the food? Or what do I do if somebody comments on my meal and what I've chosen to put on my plate? So what I recommend that you do in this step is to think about these triggers, what they might look like, and how you'd like to respond to them. Everybody's triggers are going to be different, and your response to them is also going to be different. It's something that's going to be unique to you and what you're needing in that moment. Step number 4, and I wish I didn't have to say this one, but be prepared for food, weight, and body-related comments. We live in a society where people, it's just part of their general conversation, and it's something that really bothers me and I wish that I could just eradicate, but be prepared for it. Especially around the holidays, people tend to be much more aware of what they're eating and of how it affects the way they look and their weight. So be prepared that these are the type of conversations that are going to pop up, whether or not they're directed at you or not. And it might even be from somebody that you weren't expecting would be talking in that way. Somebody that in other situations you've really considered would be a support system for you. And it's just quite surprising that they're talking about that in that way, especially knowing what they know about you and your struggle with your eating disorder. It's really unfortunate when these type of conversations come up, but it's likely to happen. And the more prepared that you are, knowing that these conversations will come up at a party or at a holiday gathering, the better prepared you're going to be. This is really depending on the situation, and I think that everybody's situation is different. It's really difficult for me to capture this kind of advice in a video, but depending on where you're at, it might be helpful to speak with, say, your parents or a loved one or somebody like that that might have more of a rein on the whole situation. But to talk to them about, can we make it a rule, or can we somehow let people in our family know that this year, please don't make any food or weight or body related comments. That would be really uncalled for this year. To educate the family and to share that. And that's not something that I'm thinking would necessarily be your responsibility as somebody with an eating disorder, but if you're a family member or you're a friend, that might be something that you can take on to support the person in your life who's struggling, to really let it be known that we are now having a culture within our family that we are not making these types of comments. Now, let's say it's happened. Somebody has made a comment about food, weight, body, something like that. What can you do? One thing you can do, and I think this really depends on where you're at in your recovery, how confident you feel with even making these type of statements, or as well as how confident you feel in your recovery. But one thing you could try doing is saying to that person, please don't make those comments around me. That's not something I'm comfortable with, or can we please not have this conversation right now? It's completely up to you how much information you want to give this person. Sometimes context does help with people understanding, and sometimes there's people in our lives that just do not understand what you're going through with an eating disorder and why that type of comment would be offensive. You're gonna have to gauge that. I apologize in advance if that's probably not gonna be a comfortable conversation, but I wanna leave it in your court that it's completely up to you if that's something that you wanna talk to them about, and to kind of set the boundary of saying, please don't make these statements in front of me, or comments, or please don't ask me these questions, because that might be something that really does impact them, and you might notice a change in them after that. That said, I also wanna give you permission to smile and nod. Completely understandable if it does not feel comfortable for you to be able to set a boundary with somebody about the food and weight and body comments that they're making. Sometimes the best thing you can do in that situation, rather than having it impact you further, is to let the situation happen and get out. So I'd like to give you permission to also smile and nod and let yourself escape. And that's probably going to be something that's really challenging, and that's why I want you to be prepared as well that these kind of comments or statements might happen, but to be prepared that you are capable of lasting those 10-20 seconds and leaving. So from there, I'd also invite you to take space from these people that are making these types of comments. I would not encourage you to get into a conversation with them about what their New Year's resolution is for losing how many pounds, or the strategies that they're going to use, or anything like that. Or even any of the kind of like the self-shaming that people engage in of, oh, I shouldn't have eaten that, or I've made a bad decision by eating that. I can't eat cake now because I ate XYZ earlier in the night. So take space from these people. Choose to sit at a different area of the table, choose to stand and mingle with a different group. Give yourself permission that you don't have to be involved in these types of conversations, and it's okay to choose to spend some time away from these people, because you will notice that the more time you spend in these type of conversations, the more it impacts how you're feeling. So kind of along with my smile and nod suggestion as well, is that I want to invite you as well that this is not necessarily the time that you need to educate everybody. So I don't want you to feel that pressure. If you're feeling up to it and you're feeling confident in your recovery, absolutely is completely within your right to be able to say whatever you need to say to educate other people about eating disorders and our society's pressures on women and men to look a certain way, and our attitudes towards food and exercise and all of those things. If you're feeling up for it, go for it, but don't feel like you need to. The holidays are already a time when you're filled with tons of pressure and it could feel really overwhelming. So I don't want you to feel like this is the time that you also need to add this to your plate, and give yourself a break on that. Now, step number 5, I want you to identify your allies. Who do you think is going to be at this function that could potentially be somebody that would be a support to you? Make a plan to try to sit near these people, to talk with them, to include them in your conversations, so that you can feel, their support and their warmth throughout the event. It might also be helpful to, let them know that you're feeling challenged and that you've included them as a support person. So say you're eating your meal and you're needing some distraction post-meal, they can help you with that. Include them in this plan so that you can have a discussion about, okay, I'd really like to go watch this movie with you after, or can we go play a game after, so that they're involved in that as well, and that they can be an ally and a support to you while you're struggling post-meal. Now, step number 6 is kind of an elusive one. It's a bit abstract, but I want you to think of what the worst case scenarios might be for this situation. Now, I know most therapists would not tell you to think of the worst case scenarios because you're actually wanting to find some balance in your thinking. However, when I'm trying to make a survival plan for a big event like a holiday, I always like to think of like what could possibly go wrong and how can I prepare myself for that. This is a piece that I would really recommend that you work with your therapist or your dietitian on, somebody who knows your recovery process well and might be able to point out, times in the past that you've struggled with something in particular, but try to know what those worst case scenarios are and get a sense of what you might do to combat that if it ends up happening. Now, again, I want to recommend that I want you to make this a fair challenge. Yes, it's absolutely a challenge. And yes, you may feel the pressure to want to rely on past eating disorder behaviors in order to cope, but how can you challenge yourself in a fair way to try something new? Whether it's, waiting a certain amount of time post-meal, whether it's trying to distract yourself with a different activity, if it's about, trying a new food that you've been really struggling with, or trying to, say if you're dealing with binge eating, to pick a certain amount of food that you're going to be eating and enjoy it and be mindful of it. Pick what it is that you think might be really challenging for you and really focus on this in your survival plan that you're making right now. Step number 7 is to make a plan for coping and distraction. Above all, I want to say, do what works. Do whatever you have found to be effective for coping well during a meal and post-meal that does not involve you relying on an eating disorder behavior. That might look like choosing not to be one of the people that helps tidy up in the kitchen, or moving to another area of the party after the meal, just to give yourself a little bit of a shift and to help remove yourself from something that might have felt really triggering and overwhelming. Maybe it means sitting with people that you know are going to be supportive, or making a plan for something to do post-meal so that you're already prepared for it, like having a board game ready, having a movie ready, deciding to go for a walk after the meal. But whatever it is, do what works and have a plan for how you're going to cope and distract yourself after the meal. For step number 8, I want you to be prepared that things may not go as planned. You can do all this work, you can make the survival plan, but it might not go that way. You may eat more than you were intending, you may be really challenged with eating a specific food group, whatever it may be. Be prepared for that. In this spot on step number 8 of your survival plan, I want you to write some statements that are going to help make yourself feel better and feel supported if things don't go to plan. So write things down like, this is not a failure. I have not failed. This is a slip. This is a part of my recovery process and I'm trying my very best. If you're going through a situation where maybe binge eating is an issue, write down something like, it's normal. It's normal to eat more at Christmas time or at holiday times. And that's typical. I have not failed in this. So whatever kind of coping statements that you would like to make to yourself, or to know that this is something that's really going to hit home for you if you end up doing something that doesn't go according to this plan that we're making right now, have it ready, have it there, have it in your pocket, in your purse, in your phone, wherever it's going to be accessible to you. Know that it might not go to plan, and then be prepared to have a statement to kind of check in with yourself if that's happening. Now, step number 9, also very personal, is having a plan for after the party or after the event. So a lot of people will say, I can handle the event just fine, but I'm really in danger once I go home into the privacy of my own space that I might end up having a relapse of my eating disorder. So make a plan. How are you going to be successful once you leave the party? And that can look completely different for a bunch of different people, so I don't want to tell you what the best way is for that, but this might be something, again, that you consult with your therapist or your dietitian on. But be realistic about what you know to happen after certain events and make a plan for what you're going to do there as well. And step number 10, last but not least, is to involve somebody else in this survival plan process. So that might be your therapist, dietitian, or a loved one that you think could be really supportive of you. They know you well, and they might have some suggestions. They may also have ways that you can tweak your plan to make things different or to help you be more successful. Please know that it's normal. You cannot do this all by yourself. And it's really helpful if you can reach out to somebody who's going to be able to help you with this really challenging time in the year. Unfortunately, in a video like this, I'm not able to cover everything. And so when you consult with somebody else that knows your eating disorder well, they're able to give you some tips and strategies that can help you be successful where this video can't cover them. And if after the event, you're able to again share the plan plan and how things went and the bumps that you came across, you'll be able to again tweak that plan and use it for future events. So it just is kind of like a process where the plan just keeps getting better and better with time. And that's why I say let this be a fair challenge, because next time there's going to be another challenge with its own unique aspects to it. Now, I've created a template for this that's actually on my blog at parallelwellness.ca. So I'm going to create a link right down below that you can go and use this. So check that out and use this template to create your own survival plan for the holidays. Let me be your cheerleader here. This is no small feat. Holidays are times that trip everybody up. Please know you are so brave for doing this. You are working really hard, but you're also incredibly capable, and I know that you can do this. Part of recovery is dealing with the everyday challenges of your eating disorder, but another part of recovery is dealing with these bigger kind of one-off situations where they only happen once in a while. This is another part of it. This is something that you're going to get through. Enjoying holidays, parties, get-togethers with other people is something that an eating disorder takes away from a lot of people. This is something that you really do deserve to enjoy and get back to. Take this plan seriously, that this is something that you can use to work your way back and to find some enjoyment in these types of holiday events. Now, I want to leave a message for any of the family and friends of people with eating disorders here at the end of the video, and that is, do not expect the person that you live with or the person that you love who's going to be attending these events to enjoy holidays. And that might sound completely absurd. Please know that this is something that's incredibly challenging for them, and it's not at all that they don't appreciate the work that you've put in, or that it's not something that they're nostalgic for and that they wish that they could enjoy again, but that these events are incredibly difficult and that it's probably going to take quite a toll on them. They're not trying to ruin it for you. They're not trying to take anything away. They're not trying to be unappreciative, but it is incredibly challenging for them. So please go into these events with that in mind and really adjust your expectations and try to take on their perspective of how difficult this is. And that might even be an opportunity for you to talk to them about something that could help them to enjoy the event a little bit more, with the understanding and expectation that this is going to be really, really difficult. I think something that's really difficult for family and friends to adjust to is understanding that holidays are going to be different now that the eating disorder is involved in your loved one's life. So also adjusting your expectation of what that's going to look like, and knowing that different doesn't mean it's necessarily worse. It's something that's different. Now, if you found any strategies helpful with managing the holidays with your eating disorder, please comment down below. I'd really like to make a community on this channel that to be able to support other people, right? And so something that you have found to be helpful might actually help somebody else who's going through something very similar, especially at this time of the year. And if you found this video helpful, please give it a like, share it with a friend, subscribe to the channel so that we know that these are the type of videos that are helpful to you and we can make more like them. We're just starting our eating disorder series on the channel. So if you have any topics that you think would be helpful for other people to learn about, or that you're curious about yourself, leave a comment down below. I'd love to chat with you, and it's going to really help us with making our plan for where this channel moves to. Recognizing that this time of year can be really challenging for people with eating disorders, and not everybody is connected with a counselor. If you're interested in seeking counseling at Parallel Wellness, go to our website at parallelwellness.ca, go to the top right corner, and you can book an appointment online in either Burnaby or North Vancouver. When you visit our website, you'll find complete biographies about each of our counselors, and you're able to book directly online. We'd love to be social and be a source of positive and informative messages online, so don't forget to follow us on Instagram and Facebook, where we also share about upcoming workshops and events. Thank you for watching the video, and stay tuned next week when we're going to have a special guest on the channel, Alicia Patinsky, who is a personal trainer who works with people who have suffered from eating disorders and are looking to get back into exercise in a healthy and realistic way that's going to be positive with their recovery process. You're not going to want to miss it. We'll see you in the next video.